go to the cloud. Jai Shri Krishna. Oh. Krishna, thank you for having us. Today we'll start the 17th chapter. 17th because last time we finished the 15th, and then yesterday we started the 16th on this Saturday session, so might as well start the 17th. I'm hoping, I'm aiming to finish the first time all 18 chapters. Hopefully by this Gita, Jayanti jab December mein aayegi, or through December. Anyway, so let's see. No rush though, no pressure, no rush ever. So I guess English would be preferable, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and even I know for Zoom participants also today's. So 17th chapter is Shraddha, Traya, Vibhag. Shraddha is belief system, right? Like what we believe in. Traya is threefold. Just the 14th chapter was Guna, Traya, Vibhag. The three aspects of the idea here is that there is a continuous spectrum. There is the digital and there is the analog, right? Like digital implies that there is only packets, there is only discrete, separate packets. And analog would imply that it's a continuous wave. It's continuous. And then light, for example, scientifically is considered both, that yeah, it's composed of photons, but it is also wave. And so it is in our in our philosophy, it is suggested that it is continuous, that it is connected. This morning in the Marathi session, we were talking about the Vishwarup Darshan Yoga, 11th chapter. Vishwarup Dekha, the Brahmanami Sham Kamala Sanastam Rashincha Sarvana Naranganscha. This is the shloka in the 11th chapter where Arjun sees, oh my God, I see Brahma in you. I also see Vishnu sitting in Kamal, and I see Shiv not as different tukade ye Brahma idhar baitha, Vishnu idhar hai, but I see the whole connected. The whole is already connected. It's just that we are focusing on certain aspects of it. I am only focusing on me. It is already one. It is already connected. It is already single. There is already one only. Well, we only have limited views. And so when the perspective was broader, when the view was broader, suddenly saw the example that I gave is that during Christmas time when Kana lit up the house, when we light this series of like ek mala lagai, then we started the second, third, fourth, and it was all until we started it from at the nighttime, during the nighttime from afar. You don't see the house, but when you plugged in one, you see, okay, I see a little bit of it, a little bit of the house, just the porch shape. When you connect the other one to it, oh, I see the other extension. And when you connect the other, I say, okay, the whole light, the whole house lights up, all of those. And now you see that everything was connected. I couldn't see it, but it was already connected. And so the idea, whether it's the Gunatraya Vibhag Yoga, today I will lay the context and do some shlokas. The idea here is not that there are good people, there are bad people, and there are like different people. It's not like there is sattvic, dark boundary around it. Do a fence, draw a boundary. These are all the good ones. All right, aside. And then these are all the whatever, bad ones, not suggesting anything here. Fixed boundaries and then mixed or however. In fact, the idea is opposite, that all of it, and he says so in the Gita, anything that exists in the 14 chapters, anything that exists essentially has to have all three. The entire spectrum. The only difference is in the proportionality. Deshe kale cha patre cha. It's a shlok that will come in this chapter, in the 17th chapter, that the same person at a different time can exhibit different qualities. Can be really, really good with certain people. Or when we were in India, we behave certain way, in a certain way. When we come here, the same person in the US behaves differently, for example. Or we are in India, but with someone else we behave one way, and yet someone else we behave a different way. So it depends on patra, right? Like who is in front of us, or who the person is, or the desh, or the land, the place where we are at, or kal. At the same time, some people are here in the US and some people are in India. They're behaving differently from those who, so whether it's desh, kal, patra, so those are the aspects of different dimensions of it. And so the idea behind that, to me, my process is that it is wrong, and it is very limited to have judgment, right? This encourages judgment-free behavior, to be open-minded. Gita really does open perspectives to ensure that we're not quick to judge. Like Jesus said, "Thou shalt not judge." One of the tenets. We don't know. If we're quick to judge, then we might be leaving most of it out, and maybe making very wrong, informed very wrongly, and making wrong decisions. And so while we've crossed the 14th chapter, we wouldn't go there. But if you remember a couple of those shloks, in the third shlok in that chapter, he says that the one who follows this, understands this, has access to everything that I have. Mama sadharmya magataha sarge apina upajayante pralayena vitanticha. When we're able to take it in as is, not concocted, not imagined, not thinking, I think it is this, when we're able to receive it as it is given, when we're able to receive as is, it requires a broad, open mind. It requires a pure heart. And the practices that I was talking about during Dhyana, I'll come to that, are those purificatory practices. Starts to experience the fearlessness of God, starts to experience the opulence of God, starts to experience the carefree, giving, forgiving nature of God. This was the third shlok in it. Nanyam gunebhya kartara yada drashta anupashyati gunebhyascha param veti madbhavam so adhigachati was also another shlok. The reason I'm bringing 14 chapters is because it really sort of connects to this 17th chapter also, that the one who's able to see that nothing other than those three aspects, gunankit, the satvikta, rajasita, tamasa, they're just playing with each other as if the gunas are at play. This isn't a bad person, or this isn't a good person. It's what's inside. The example that I was giving this morning was for Halloween. One time, Mohini, Kana, when they were in elementary school, and one of their friends, his name was Abhi, I took them to Halloween ko bachon ko leke jate hain. Okay, well, let's go collect. Mohini became like some pari, some fairy or something, I forget. And Kana became some Simba or something. And this Abhi, the other guy, he wore Jack the Ripper, death. And so I took all three of them, and they'd go get their candy. And then in a corner the house that I showed, they rang the bell, and Abhi stood in front of the home. And then a really old guy opened it, a really old man opened it, like, who are you? He said, like, cutely, he said, who are you? You're death. I mean, stoically said, you're death. And well, I was like, I'm glad he didn't drop it. And so, but the old man smiled back, because he knew that this is not a real fairy. This is not Simba, and this isn't my death. They're just wearing three different costumes. One is looking really scary. One is looking really pretty, cute. And the other one is like trying to scare me or something, but like roaring like a lion or something. But right. I'll never forgive Abhi for that. I mean, forget. Of course, there's nothing to forgive here. It's just having fun, the spirit of Halloween. But those were three gunas. They were just playing with it. But the one inside the mask wasn't death, wasn't Simba, wasn't a lion, wasn't a fairy, any of that. Those were just kids, as kids are. Just like the one inside this one, and these, and this one also. There is purity inside all of us. If we must judge, then we must just go straight to the one that's inside, the one that only stays, the one that is real. And every single time, without exception, we'll come back with the conclusion, it's really good. It's pure, it's good. And we're just judging by the cover, right? And that's how we're misinformed in all problems in the world. In the 14th chapter, he says that are because it's the surface. What a shame it would be to look at the ocean and say, well, that's all there is to the ocean. Waves. We're just looking at the waves. This is the ocean. Mostly we go to the beach and our idea of the ocean is looking at the waves. We have no idea how much ocean there is. This is just the skin of the ocean, right? There is thousands and thousands of times of ocean there is, and we have no idea. Or just looking at the clouds, oh wow, look at the sky. We have no idea how much there is behind the clouds, how much sky there is. There is endless sky, endless space behind it. And so to say that, well, this person is good or bad, or that it's just, that's not true. Having said that, he said that if it exists, anything, if a saint exists, and I'll make a bold statement, the greatest of saints you can imagine. See, there is tamas in them, Krishna says. And if you imagine the most heinous person, the worst of the worst person, apichet suduracharo, sarvebhya papa krittamaha, that it's a shlok from the Gita also. The worst of the worst man, there's something good in him also. It's just not possible to exist without all three of these interplaying. It depends on what proportion, how much good, how much like whatever those qualities. And even those change based on the place that they're at, based on the time, and based on who they're dealing with and who is in front of them, whether a child or this, that, right? And so then how can I, at which time can I like fully judge and say, no, asai, like draw a line, draw a boundary. And so that's not, and so in that shlok that I recited from the 14th chapter, he says, those who are able to perceive that, understand that, na anyam gunebhya kartara, nothing and no one other than this, just the modes of nature are playing. Yada drashta anupashyati. When you're able to, anupashyati is in the backdrop. I may have to still behave with someone in a certain way to respond, right? To respond to it, not reacting to it. I don't want to react based on their action, but I may still have to respond to it depending on what is required. But while responding to the situation, if I don't ever forget in the backdrop, anupashyati, behind the scene, even that person may not know that that person is situated in pure goodness. But if I am able to see beyond that, gunebhyascha param veti, then that person sees that which is beyond the guna, madbhavam sodhigachiti, and is able to see me. Because in all the good and the bad and the worst and the ugly, I alone am situated, seeing. And in the small wave and the big wave and all that. In the good dream characters and the bad dream characters. In the one that's here and here and here, it's the same goal. Same. There's only one. Because they're all connected. And so now coming back to the 17th chapter here, we've gone through, we've transcended the 15, 16, essentially being able to see the connection. And so here also in Shraddha, Traya, Vibhag, three kinds of faiths. And we'll launch into the chapter in a moment, in which Arjun asked a certain question, and Krishna responds to that, and then obviously elaborates on it. That he's saying, well, it's not that, it's just these people are all sattvic, and these people are rajasic, and these people are tamasic. But you still have to be able to identify what is sattvic, what does it feel like, what does rajasic feel like, what does tamasic look like, so that you can make informed decisions about how do I want to be. And as I was saying during Dhyan, in Upanishad, it's in all our scriptures really recommended Ch.17, so like 6 opulences only available to the human form. The greatness of the glories that we're born, we're endowed with 6 opulences. Never mind the wealth and the name and the fame. This is 6 opulences. If we remember them, if we bring those to bear, if we can use them, then the path opens up. Before we get into that, one time I had shed some light on there at the broadest level for spiritual realization, right? For God realization, for self-realization, for us to be able to connect with everyone, for us to see the oneness in all. Broadly, there are 2 ways of doing it. One is tattvic, it's called, the other is sattvic, right? Tattvic, tattva is fundamental, principle, understanding, comprehension, that with clarity, if I understand the truth as is, There's no doubt if in my mind, I got it, I experienced it. Tattva is fundamental. And in India, when we would study, it was like Funde clear. When we know the formula, then it doesn't matter. I'm fearless in my math exam. Bring it on, right? It doesn't bother me. It doesn't, because I can plug it in, plug and play, literally. And that's Tattvic, it's called. Like really going to the roots of in a comprehensive understanding, detailed understanding way. Either that, which is the Gyan Marg, clarity of wisdom, clarity of knowledge, or Sattvic, the purity. That I may or may not understand this, but I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to stay on the path that is recommended. I'll make effort, I'll work hard, I'll safeguard and make sure that I go on this path that has been recommended, supposedly Sattvic. So Gyan Marga would eventually walk us on, Tattvic Marga would walk us on the Gyan Marga, and Sattvic Marga would walk us on the Bhakti Marga. And eventually we'll see that they're both the same. Pure Gyan is Sattvic, pure goodness. Sattva is goodness, right? Tattvic is pure knowledge. Sattvic is pure goodness. So pure knowledge, which is pure truth, has to be good also, pure good. And pure goodness alone is the truth. Pure goodness meaning love, uncontaminated love, right? Essentially, that's pure goodness. When there's no motive behind it. And that is the highest truth. So for Tattvic or for Sattvic, what is suggested here, what I was saying during Dhyan, and I think it's important reference for this before we launch straight into this chapter, is Shat is Sampatti. Shat is sixfold. Sampatti is like, what your legacy endowed with. And it starts with Shama, Dam, those are the two, and then Titiksha, and I'll explain those, Uparati, and then Samadhan and Shraddha. And that's where we'll launch into this chapter, because the name of this is Shraddha, Traya, Vibhag Yoga. 3 kinds of intentionality, 3 kinds of faith behind it. And you will see in this, he explained that they can change. It's really the purity of intention. It's really the intention with which you gave in charity. It is the intention with which you went to that Tirath Yatra. It is the intention with which you did the puja, vrat, yagya. That is what moves the needle. And this clock that's on the wall clock, the big hand is moving in this way. If you look at the outer edge of it, it seems like it's moving in a big way, but it's really the anchor, the pivot. The needle mover is there. This is just following what this is doing. This is just the effect. This is the cause, the anchor of it. So the needle mover is the intentionality, what really moves it, which is called the prime mover, right? In technical terms. What shows up is only the effect of it. And so we've got to focus on the intentionality, and this would be the essence of this chapter also. And that you can change, and the intentions can change as well. So going back to the Shat Sampatti, it's a little bit technical, but it is important. I don't often refer to this. This is more on the Shankaracharya, Gyan Marg. Those who walk on the path of Gyan more exclusively focus on this, really doggedly pursue this. They wouldn't have it any other way. They would spend years, a decade, 12 years. In fact, tap is made of 12 years. They would say, you have to first spend brahmacharya vrat. You have to spend 12 years pursuing these. Then the next 12 years in sannyas, and then the next 12 years in this, that. So what are those? The first one is like sham, like restraining the mind from inside, from within, shant, like quietude inside. And the other is dam, right? So they go hand in hand. Dam is dam bharna, dam dena, upar se, bahar se, outer. Controlling the mind from outer, right? Just removing the devices, not buying junk food, turning off the router, hiding the car key. Those would be the kinds of putting the alarm on, or those would be the kinds of dam, bahar se. Just electricity nahi hai to restraining from the outside would be dam, and restraining from within. No, I don't want to eat anything today. I'll subsist, I'll restrain from grains. I don't want to eat until the sun sets. I'm vegetarian, I don't eat meat, or I'm not going to do this on this day, or once a week this or that. No one's asking you to. There's no punishment if you eat if you don't know. But no, I'm putting those on myself. I'm accepting those on myself. I'm encouraging myself. That's a purificatory process. That's sham. That expects, that pauses, that from within you're working. And I know you're probably bored of this, but in yoga system, of what I'm about to say, because I think you're mimicking you. I've seen you mimicking me one time, making fun of it, which is fine. But what's next? What this is already you're cracking up. You know where I'm going. So in the best definition that I have found, which I must share then, of sham, there are various definitions, but the best one appears in Yoga Vasishtha Maharamaya. In Vasishtha Rishi, Sri Ramji's guru, right, describes to him, because Ramji asked him, like, what is all this Shat Sampatti? What is Shama? What is Dham? And the way Vasishtha Muni describes is, yes, right, that you're exactly mocking. And he said in Hindi, but it's very powerful. संपूर्ण संसार की वासना का त्याग करके भीतर से प्रसन्न रहने का नाम शम है राम जी. Said Ram, you asked me what sham is. Let me tell you what sham is. संपूर्ण संसार की वासना का त्याग. You don't have to give up people. You're a prince. You don't have to give up your kingdom. First class rule. Marry. You don't have to remain a brahmachari. Have kids if you want to. लेकिन पर अंदर से वासना का त्याग, don't आसक्ति नहीं चाहिए, insistence नहीं चाहिए. I have to have this. ये ऐसा ही होना चाहिए, वैसा ही होना चाहिए. इसमें ऐसी इतनी नमक, इतना शक्कर. Just let go of that त्याग, right? Let go from within. Detach from within. किसका? संपूर्ण संसार की. Nothing should matter from within. And at the same time, भीतर से सदैव प्रसन्न रहना. What a beautiful picture. Chalachal, always joyful, always cheerful. Regardless, it doesn't matter. It namak zyada hai ya kam hai, ghar mein aaye, nahi aaye, kaun kya kar raha hai, bana hai, soya, ute subah, kya grade mila, kya nahi mila. Just prasannata, no compromise. You should guard that. And we can do this. One should never, ever compromise our own inner cheer, our inner peace. It doesn't matter which religion you follow. I know this, that every religious guru has highly held this up. You don't want to be alone. It's like a knife example, right? If some Buddha this morning I was saying had said that, oh, so galiya diya, and it's like, what happened? How come you're not affected by it? Cursing you, this, that. But you don't seem affected. What's the matter with you? Are you shameless? How come you don't feel anything? Said, yeah, you gave those to me, but I never took one. I took none of those, right? Not a single one. Therefore, they haven't reached me yet. And therefore, I am in my inner state of mind, in a prasanna state of mind. So, संपूर्ण संसार की वासना का त्याग करके भीतर से, अंदर से, सदैव, not ups and downs. Oh, I'm happy, unhappy. सदैव प्रसन्न रहना sham. And so the suggestion is that we are endowed with it. It is possible. If you go within, if you think about it, if you resolve, it is possible to be that way. What helps is the Dhamma aspect of it. Initially, training wheels are okay. Put that on. It's okay to wear that tube while we're learning to swim, right? And so, yeah, hide the remote. Yeah, don't buy junk food. And soon we'll see that I can live without it. In fact, I live better without it. And then I don't need it. Okay? Well, recently I experimented with low carb, no carb, or the less amount of food. I never thought I could eat as less as I can, but it's working. So shama, dhamma, and then the third is titiksha, which is endurance, which we call grit, right? Essentially, staying put, not being shallow, not being just at the drop of a hat. Oh, okay, well, if you say so, then I'll eat it. ठीक है, आज के दिन खा लेते हैं, आज के दिन देख लेते हैं. That's not great. Titiksha is like enduring चाहिए. But the 100-mile bike ride, like I went one a couple of months ago. I didn't ride, but I was staffed. Some people really could not, but they had the grit. They would still pedal 100 miles straight in California heat. That was grit. So if we can apply that to our mind, that's titiksha. And then the fourth is uparati. Soon it's sort of like going uphill and then reaching the plateau of the hill and then going downhill. As we approach the plateau of the hill, then it becomes easier. So uparati sort of gets to that stage that I don't like it anymore. I don't even want it. That which I used to salivate for, I used to run after, through practice, through sham, dam, titiksha, I've gotten to a stage where uparati hogi, ulti, I don't want it. जैसे कहते हैं कि मिठाई खाया, मिठाई बर्फी खाया, बासुंदी खाया, इतनी खाया कि उल्टी हो गए, barf. Do I pick that up with a spoon and take it out? Because this is अभी 1 घंटा पहले बासुंदी थी, उसको like श्रीखंड खा लेते, अभी 1 घंटे में खराब कहाँ खा लेते? No, that's uparati. I don't want it, right? I don't need it. I don't want it. So that we get to that state, uparati. And then after that, when we, just like after Vibhag, it feels better, feels quieter. Like most people feel better after that. Uske baad samadhan aata hai. I feel like equipoised, like in the spiritual practices, once I get to that stage of uparati, that no, I'm not dependent on it. I'm not driven by it. I'm not a slave to it. I don't have to have it. I will take what I need when I need, but I'm not going to be obsessed about it. I'm not going to be driven by it, controlled by it, right? External stimuli, no longer. Ihaiva tayarjita sarge yesham samye sthitam mana nirdosham hi. In the 5th chapter, there is a shloka that comes that is bias parsheshwa sattatma. It's a phenomenal, powerful, forceful verse in the 5th chapter. It says, when one is no longer dependent on external stimuli of what sights I see and what sounds I hear and what do I get to touch and what do I eat and taste and hear and smell. I'm no longer dependent on that. That person might as well have conquered the entire world, he says. Whatever it is, that's the winner of all. So coming back here, that's uparati, samadhan, when we feel content. Samadhan is contentment after that. And then it's suggested, then we get shraddha. Shravana. Kano se suna hua satya, sat, dha is buddhi. So these are not just words, they're, as I said, in Sanskrit, every word is like a formula, right? And Gita is even superior because these are like formulas, these are macros, not just formulas. Bunches of formulas put together so that you plug in and like, whoa, what comes out of it? So it's called Shraddha because Shra is associated, Shravanendri, Shravan, Shruti. These are all starting with Shra. Yeah, the one that we hear, Kano se jo suna jata hai. Navada Bhakti starts with listening. When we go to a class, it's not enough to see the wonky professor just moving the lips. We must hear the person also. It's okay if you don't see the professor. If I just hear it, if I turn off this video, it'll be okay. But if I turn off the audio, it will not be okay. My extravagant hand gestures are still visible, but they understand nothing. It's the Shravan, it's called. When someone is dying, it's also suggested that they can still hear something. They can hear their own voice, inner voice. And hence it is really important to be chanting around them and for them to have engaged in chanting while they're still sane, because the inner voice is always heard. Sit still and know that I am God. And Jesus said, if you sit still, you will hear the inner voice. That inner voice is no one other than me, the Lord says. No one else. And if you sit still, you'll hear the inner voice. Everyone will, everyone does, suggesting that everyone has that presence in them. And so Shra, about what? Sat, the highest truth, the only truth, the existence of truth. Dha is the buddhi. Dharana usme ho jayega. So that Shraddha, we get to that, the pure goodness, faith and pure goodness through the practice of this. Once we practice these 6, then it is suggested that you have a Vibhag. As you heard, these are the scriptural sort of markers, milestones Vivek is the discernment, being able to distinguish between what is good and bad, what is right and wrong, what is temporary and permanent, what will stay, what will not stay. Sat asat vivek buddhi kehte. Once we have situated in vivek, once we have developed, once we have that framing, once we wear that lens, then no, I don't, this isn't right, this is right. I don't want this, I don't want that. This isn't so much discrimination, this isn't partitioning, this is discerning. Right? Always picking that which seemed to be right. Then vivek ke pashat vairagya jagrat होता है. In that sequence, then we automatically are turned off. Vairagya is turning off towards that which is asat, towards that which is not helpful, towards that which is not right, towards that which is exclusive, towards that which is not inclusive, in other words, divisive jo ho, which is separating me, which is drawing thicker boundaries, that which is limiting me, that which is creating ignorance in me, growing my ignorance that this is just me and this is you, this is mine, this is yours, that which is narrowing my focus. I'm turned off by that. I want broader perspective. I want higher perspective. I want inclusive. I want expansive. It would be the natural default setting. That's vairagya, vivek vairagya. And once I have that, in other words, if I'm just looking at the sky, night sky, through this one little kagaj ki pungli, right? And I see 3 stars, and I no longer insist that if I rip that and throw it, I see the whole broad sky. I was continuing to limit myself to it. And I'm now saying, I don't need this. I can just see all that. I can see the broader view by shunning, by letting go of the limitations, the limiting factors. And that's a gyan. Then we have entered into gyan, essentially. The purity of gyan will essentially make us fall in love with the Supreme, with the ultimate. We don't have a choice at that point. It's the right thing happens. Gyan ultimately leads to the best part of Gyan, which is love, which, in other words, bhakti. Bhakti is chipka rehna. Vibhag jo na ho. Bhakti just means usko hi chipka rehna, connected with it. I don't want to disconnect from this. I love this too much. I like this, my daughter, my house, my dog, my cat, my body, my job, my boss, my friends, my cricket, my game, my team, whatever, right? I want to turn that off. I don't want to get. So bhakti kar raha hai. स्पोर्ट्स के भक्त हो गए, है ना, पति पत्नी के भक्त हो गए, मित्र के भक्त हो गए, जॉब के भक्त, वर्कaholic के भक्त गए. दैट्स भक्ति. पक्का चिपक के रहना. जो विभक्त न हो, one that would not be disconnected. Pure Gyan connects with them, leads into bhakti. Oh my God, the glory of this, the connected vision, the oneness of it, the grandeur of it, the opulence of it, the purity of it, the goodness of it is such that why would I leave this? What bigger, what more is there? In the 6th chapter, he says, Yam labdva cha param labham na manyati na adhikam tata. Having gotten that vision, the conviction is in the mind of that yogi that there can be nothing greater or grander than this. It is impossible to even imagine something superior to this. Na aparam labham. There's nothing bigger I can gain. It has not gotten a merit increase or a promotion or sign-on bonus, nothing. Still the same. The house is still the same size, still eating the same, and the body is still degrading. But inner state of mind has become such that the realization that what I now have, how I now feel, is the most superior of them all. And so that's why would I want to let go of that? And that's bhakti. And that bhakti becomes so intense. Bhakti implies there are 2, right? Bhakta or Bhagwan. One is connected to the other. The plug is into the socket. That there have to be 2. And then whatever was in the socket is flowing through the plug. That's animating the mixer and the boiler and the refrigerator according to their makeup. But bhakti, jab gaadi ho jaye, bahut pakki ho jaye, itni pakki jaye, there's a distinction is gone. There aren't 2. Which one is God and which one is devotee? I don't know which one is which. They have become one, Advaita. Right? Up until now, there were 2.
The beauty of that is you're achieving Advait through Dvait. So, perhaps that pure Advait philosophers, they need to hear.
Yeah, the means to it. Right.
You still, okay, you believe in Advait, that's
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
perhaps the means is to.
If there was Advait realization from the beginning, then what uparati, what titiksha, what do I, if there is only one, who am I running away from? Why am I hiding anything? Why am I saying like everything is, and the real Jnani is situated in that. So I'll end this part of the context for this chapter with this, that the Tattvic person lives in freedom. The Jnani lives in real freedom. Absolutely, not bothered by whatever is happening. The Jnani is not any less than the Bhakta. The real Jnani, the pure Jnani, the honest, actual Jnani is no less than Bhakta in the sense that they're living in full freedom, except void of sort of the extra joy, the extra shot of joy, perhaps, that love brings, right? Bhakti. And Bhakta is living in pure goodness, pure love, also living freely because it doesn't matter for them. And so, as you said, we all start in Dvait and then we eventually narrow down towards Advait. So pure love would like, it doesn't matter who Krishna is, who I am, whether I've seen him, whether I just love, for example, in this case, Krishna. And the entire focus is on the love aspect of it. And when the vision is clear that there's no one other than Krishna, and this and this and this, when the clarity is there, and the clarity comes, uncompromising clarity comes, then it's impossible not to love. Pure love, right? Pure love, not physical love, not wanting love, not strings attached love, not trading love, pure love for the sake of love only. Because that's the nature of love. Real love is only giving. Real love can only be giving because real love is opulent. Real love is infinite, is flowing with infinite resources. It doesn't need anything. It doesn't want anything. And therefore, there's no trade in it. It's saying, take as much as you want, whenever you want, whatever you want. It's open. Please take it, right? It runs after to give pure love. And so, as we follow along this journey in this adhyaya, let's launch into this 17th chapter, Saptadashodhyaya, 17th chapter. Atha is so begins the next topic. Arjuna Uvacha, Ye Shastra Vidhi Utsrajam Manyase Shraddhayanvita, Yajante Shraddhayanvita. Ye or ye Shastra Vidhim Utsrujya Yajante Shraddhayanvita Tesham Nishtha Tuka Krishna Swatam Aho Rajastama. So I'll read the translation in Hindi and then we'll elaborate in English. Arjun bole, hey Krishna, जो शास्त्र विधि छोड़कर केवल श्रद्धा युक्त होकर पूजा करते हैं, उनकी स्थिति कैसी होती है? सात्विकी, राजसी या तामसी? ये मतलब those shastra vidhim utsrajya. Utsrajya is just abandoning, going past, not caring for what? The scriptures and the purificatory, the process. The scriptures and the process. Vidhi is the process, right? Mantra vidhi. So, for example, those who disregard the scriptures and the processes, but they do have faith, but they believe. They think this is all baloney. I don't have to follow the scriptures. I don't have to read the scriptures. I don't have to follow the process. I believe in God. I'm just gonna worship however I know to, whatever I can think of, however I'm going to. So obviously they have faith. They believe in God, but they're not following any of they're abandoned the path, the guardrails that were put around it. If you want to climb, go to in Himalayas, in the Jai Mata Di, Vaishno Devi, and there's guardrails put on there. Those who say, oh no, I want to go to that Devi, that I see that, why do I need to go on this path? I don't need the guardrails. I'm just going to create my own path and go. What happens to them? Are they devotees or not? And he's going to say, well, yeah, I mean, they can, if they reach, yes, but there is a chance that they might fall, they might slip. There is a good reason why these railings have been provided, why the steps have been created. Maybe there's more thrill without it. It depends, right? And we'll hear what that means, what he says about that. But he does not negate in this chapter. He doesn't say, no, you have to follow this path. But he also does not, God also does not say, yeah, no need to follow that, just come straight to me. Because again, this is a balance, this is a moderator, this is a normal path. This is for normal people. Gita is for normal people, not for abnormal, extreme adventure kind of people, skydiving people. This is not for those. Kana did skydiving 2 weeks ago, 20,000 feet, threw himself on it. Like, and he's dared us to do it, and we are going to do this, right? Yeah. So how bad could it be 20,000 feet? Right? Extreme sport. Yeah, it should be fun. But this is for most, because this is for the masses. Gita is not for the classes. Remember that. This is not a particular class of Brahmanas, or only this, or Hindus only, or those who only follow Krishna would do Gita, Vaishnavas only. It's not for that. It's quite the opposite. In the 9th chapter, he boldly says so. Kim punar brahmana punya rajarshayas tata striyo vaishya tata shudra punyavan ho na ho apichet suduracharo papi bhi ho pabebhya krityama stri ho purusha vaishya ho shudra ho brahmana raja ho na ho, any of those, right? It's suggesting this is for all, this is for the masses. That's why it was for me, and that's why I'm suggesting it is for you as well, that this is for all of us, this path. This is not for Hindus or any other religion. This is for normal people, normal humans, if we are those. And therefore, there is not much of negation in the Gita. There's not much of putting down, asane wo vasane. It's accepting it, but really uplifting that which works. That's why this is a practical path, that try this works. And we've experienced it, right? If we go within, however little we practice, that much we have benefited from it. Whoever has practiced much has benefited much also. And whoever consistently practices, consistently benefits. It's very directly proportional to that as well. And so the question was, those who discard all the injunctions and the scriptural recommendations and the processes suggested in it, and they just do their own bhakti because they have faith, what happens to them? Tesham nishtha tuka Krishna. Would you call them good, bad, or corrupt, or what? How do you see them? Arjuna is asking a direct question. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Trivida Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Swabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Cheti Mam Shunu. श्री भगवान बोले, मनुष्यों की वह शास्त्रीय संस्कारों से रहित केवल स्वभाव से उत्पन्न श्रद्धा, सात्विकी और राजसी तथा तामसी, ऐसे तीनों प्रकार की कही गई है, उसको तुम मुझसे सुन. In other words, he said that this isn't about only following the process or just reading the scripture or just checking off the boxes. It really depends on the intention behind it. Right? What was the lens you're wearing? What was the framing? What were you trying to get through it? Will determine what you really get out of it in this side of it. Because this is not a material science. This is not a spirituality of material. For material pursuit, intention or no intention, if you put in hard work for something particular, you'll get that object. We do. You work hard. I didn't care for the employer. I didn't even like the project. I hated my team members, but I worked hard. Well, the project succeeded, you get your bonus and promotion. The intention wasn't any of that the project should succeed and the team members will feel good. In the material pursuit, you do get that. In the spiritual pursuit, it's less about that aspect of it, more about intention. Because this is spiritual, it's not material. Right? It's not going to be an object in the end that we get. It's going to be an experience. This is important. Therefore, we must pursue collecting experiences, not objects. Right? With what we've got, thoda bacha ke, this object that we've gotten, this body is the most glorious object that we have received. This isn't the life. My life should not be wasted in just preserving this object glorifying this object, beautifying this object, strengthening this object, and creating name and fame for this object, because that will eventually fade. But my pursuit, thoda karna jaruri hai, yukta hara vihara, so preserving it, but really focusing on collecting experiences, not objects. Material pursuits will bring us objects, spiritual pursuit will bring us experiences, and experience is the currency of the soul. If you want to experience something soulfully, if you want the soul to feel something, it only can feel it through experience. The soul doesn't care for or feel anything through objects, but it does through experience. Mutti par poha, Sudama took 2-3 mutti poha leke gaya. The object was just like, what is this? We're taking it to the prince. Dwarkadish ko 3 mutti poha leke ja rahe. But the intention behind it created a romanchakari experience for Krishna. Bhagwan ko hila diya uske prem ne.
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम से गए
क्या ना भगवान को हिला दिया, ऐसा चिपक गया कि छोड़ने को खा लेते उसको, जिस रोंगटे खड़े हो गए भगवान के, because the purity of the intention behind it. The object wasn't much of it. Object तो बहुत दे दिया भगवान ने उसको, बाद में त्रिलोकी का राज्य देने को तैयार है, लेकिन but he only sought the experience. So I already got, you embraced me, you took me in, I already got the best of the best imaginable experience. ये तो चलेगा कि घर गृहस्थी चलेगी, भिक्षा मांग के ब्राह्मण है खा लेंगे, है ना? And so take this seriously, watch this carefully, look for the experiences, and then therefore in any interaction with our co-workers, with our neighbors, with the one in the grocery store, with the one in the street, with the pets and the dogs, stray dogs or whoever, what kind of experience am I giving to the person, to my children, to my parents? It isn't so much about the object, but how am I giving it? How am I thinking about it? It's a soul relating to this, to another soul. That is only how we connect through experiences. That is the connector, the oneness of it all. And so if the purity of the intention is maintained, there will be flawless execution. I'll claim that. Purity of intention leads to flawless execution of it. Sooner or later, it will turn out flawless. You know? So here in the answer, in the short answer, and then he gives a long answer, the remaining 26 verses, there's 28 in this chapter. So there what really depends on what the intention behind those is. It isn't as much about following the process or the injunctions as it is about the intention behind it. The processes are good. They will lead you. The guardrails are helpful. They create a safety net. If you follow them, they're leading particularly. If Ganesh ji ko lal fuli chahiye, Vishnu and Shiv ji ko safedi chahiye, it isn't so much doggedly that Ganesh ko safed kar diya, paap ho gaya, Vishnu ko lal kyun baha diya. Aisa nahi hai. It's essentially while doing it, I'm actually thinking of Ganesh, not myself. I'm actually thinking of Vishnu. I'm actually taking care. I'm actually caring. I'm actually caring that no, I want to worship. Like it matters to me. Then I'm actually thinking about it. And so the caring and the mattering is when I'm forming this relationship and the connection. वो गणेश जाएंगे अभी मोदक बनाने हैं, उसको ये पसंद है, वो पसंद है. I'm not so sure that he really craves modak, but you know what I'm doing though in the process? I'm maintaining my purity, shuddhi. It's anapeksha shuchir daksha udasino gatavyatha. In the Bhagwad Gita, Bhakta ke Lakshan, 12th chapter, Bhagwan kehte, some of the primary highlights of a real devotee are anapeksha, not personal motive. Shuchi, clean, daksha, alert, vigilant. Udasin, higher-minded. Katavyata, not morose. And so when I'm doing puja, if I'm thinking of Ganpati, if I'm thinking of Vishnu, if I'm thinking of Shivaji, I'm putting more focus on others, on someone else. I am taking a shower. I am cleaning my kitchen counter. I'm only plucking the clean, good flowers and the durva for them. That's shuchi. Now I'm daksha. I'm making sure that kida makade nahi jaye barabar dhute. I'm triple washing it. I'm cleaning the murti with limbu, namaki, wasa, shuchir, daksha, udasin. And so the method is creating, automatically paving the path for me that at some point I'm going to become like that in everything.
Like personalizing your God, like through these processes, like how you say, you personalize karma.
Personalize karna. Yes. Panch baar, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very meticulous, very methodically, very seriously. And so it has to be upheld. There is no degradation. That's our safety net. So the Hindu Dharma, which is rooted in Sanatana Dharma, it creates a very good, strong, defensible safety net by following that, so long as we don't lose focus of where am I going. I don't want to be stuck and 5 times every day, this is the same old thing. And I'm just more all about just that. And I'm completely forgetting that it's actually ultimately that, right? But this is narrowing the field for me. This is properly taking me, channeling on my energies. And so ultimately, so it depends whether you follow that or not, because in the end, it's your intentionality that's going to determine it. If you're so much in love with God, if you're so impassioned that regardless of what clean or not, you're just completely absorbed and immersed, then whether you've taken a shower or not, this is an object, whether this object is clean or not, your intention has so purified, has become so one with it. And that's when jnanis are not known to be very much following this, that, or reading scriptures or reciting this. They're just free. They're just free. They're convinced, they've seen. There's nothing else other than this one principle that I am, right? Jnanis would say. They've identified with it.
But so even before the answer, the question itself was very progressive. That Arjuna is able to ask.
Yeah.
So he's already thinking in those terms. So what if I'm not able to follow the rules? I have to follow the rules exactly.
Yeah.
Generally, that's how religion and faith is.
Phobia, right?
So he's already on that path.
Yeah. He's clearing the path for us, right? But no, I like that thing. That's right. He's already thinking ahead in that sense. And so in this, the second line of the second verse is Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Chaiti Mam Shrunu. There are generally 3 broad categories of intentionality. Hear of those from me. And depending on which one we follow is how it will go. Satvana Rupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharata Shraddha Mayo Ayam Purusho Yo Yat Shraddha Sa Evaya. In the third verse is Shraddha Mayo Ayam Purusha. Everyone here believes something. If it's a human, he's claiming it. Every human, even those who do not believe in God, believe in that there is no God, right? It is not possible if someone has a mind for it to not have any anchor, not to have some base. Not possible because we were born through our sanskars. Our lifetimes have created some platform. Man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. Antakaran chatushti jo hai, मन से जो सोचा, इंद्रियों से जो हर जन्म में देखा है, आंखों से देखा, कानों से सुना, मुंह से खाया, देखता वो मसाला जो जिस किसी रूप में शेर बन के, मछली बन के, whatever, as a fish, as a human, whatever we have accumulated, the objects have left, but the impressions have stayed that we have collected. The mind has packaged it all. The buddhi has discerned it. What should I do with it? Should I store it as knowledge? Should I discard it? Should I run away from it? Should I keep it? Right? And chitta has accumulated it. It's sitting in our chitta. Chitta ki vritti. Chitta jaisa ho, aisa prasanna chitta ho, prasanna vritti. But aur usko fir ahankar ne apna wrapper laga de, ye sab mera hai, ye sab main hu karke. Right? You might remember that example. And so he's saying that it is not possible that someone is born and there's a shell, there's nothing in their mind. Mind-free born huए, mindless born हुए. Okay, they inherently have some beliefs. Very quickly, as they start growing and looking around and learning about the world, बच्चे, very quickly they start forming their own shraddha. That what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what I believe. The beliefs start happening. Shraddha mayo ayam purusha. This man, ayam purusha. This man is shraddha man. It's flowing with Shraddha. It's immersed in Shraddha. It's not possible for him to be or human to be without Shraddha. Yo yat Shraddha sa evaya. That's the next half of that. Really, he says, any man, if you must characterize someone, good, bad, ugly, good, whatever, right now, look at what they believe in. And that is at the root of it. That determines how their nature is, how that person is, how open-minded they are, how open-minded they're not, ultimately where they're going with it. You can examine their belief system, what they believe in, not the system, but what they believe in. And that will start to dictate. That creates the trajectory, and actually that creates the path for them. Yo yat Shraddha sa evaya. That's why we have to watch our thoughts also. That's, we're forming, solidifying our Shraddha through our thoughts. Layers and layers of thought patterns are creating a stratum of Shraddha. इसलिए मन के विचार, वाणी के उच्चार और अपने शरीर का आचार should be watchful. सत्वानुरूपा सर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत. हे भारत, अर्जुन का नाम है भारत. सर्व मनुष्यों की श्रद्धा उनके अंतःकरण के अनुरूप होती है. यह पुरुष श्रद्धामय है. इसलिए जो पुरुष जैसी श्रद्धा वाला है वह स्वयं भी वही है. Might as well ignore the physical form. As if this is sattvic, this is sattva right here, pure goodness, or this is goodness here, this is passion or energy here, or this is ignorance or lethargy, tamasic. So these are described, sattva, rajas, tamas are described adequately in the 14th chapter, but I think it's befitting to bring it a little bit here also, so that we're not concocting a misinformed. Sattva, essentially, the characteristic of sattvika is acceptance, default setting. Sattvika adjusts itself with whatever is around, right? So I'll just describe, and then you create the picture in your mind. Sattva generally, by default, trusts in goodness. Jisko trusting kehte hain, believes that no, everything is right. Generally, that everything will be right, everything is right, everything is coming from right. Jitna hai, however much I have is enough. Now the focus is not just to grow. Growth mindset. Right? Sattvic people are generally usually not seen as like constantly growing their business and always going to different people or increasing the boundaries, kingdom, this, that. They're content, self-content with it. Because inherently, innately, they are experiencing goodness within them. And goodness ultimately being the currency of the soul. They don't have strong desires. They don't have big plans, huge dreams to do this and that, because they don't feel as incomplete. Sattvic generally are closer to feeling complete. Yeah, I know I'm missing a little bit of this. I need to finish my college degree. I should have a job. I'll have my kids, and as long as there's a roof above my head, clothes to wear, generally easy going, easy mannered. Sattvikta jo hai, goodness mein situated hai. What they will eat, the places they will go, the vani, the choice of words, their vocabulary, the behavior, the dress, the colors, the cars that they will drive, the company they will keep, what they will choose to spend their time doing, their leisure in. All of that will generally be low key, right? Low key, not big splash, big drama, content. It will have boundaries around it. It will have limited, a little bit of dabbling, because for the most part, they're satiated. For the most part, they're saturated. For the most part, they feel like it's all right. That's satvikta. And rajasikta might as well be the opposite of it. Nothing is adequate ever, right? I must grow. I must know more. I must hear more. I must expand the boundaries of my kingdom or my state. My bank balance must increase. My stock portfolio, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I must sell this and start up another, this, that. My kids have to go to Ivy League schools. I must have 3 cars, one brand after another. And they work very hard, very industrious. They use all their intellectual prowess towards that. They tend to be physically strong also because they work out. They work hard. They work long hours. Go. They push people. They push themselves. No one works harder than them. Rajasi. Raja is chamak, shiny. They're drawn to the shiny. The root meaning of it is that they're drawn towards shining. They're chasing after the shiny, after the dreams, right? To the ways that now I will pursue my dreams. I will make it real. So this is shining here, now I'll go there. Now that's shining, now that's shining, now that's shiny, shiny, shiny. So that's rajas. That's rajasika. Sattva is the essence. What appears to be shiny is not what I'm interested in. Sattvic, if I am. Whatever is its sattva, whatever is its essence, whatever it is rooted in, whatever is inside it, not whatever is shining outside. I'm just content with that. And so sattvic will just go straight to the essence, identify with it, and it's just shanta ho jayenge. Rajasic will always be chasing more, more, more. Then they're very passionate people. The volume of their the way they would speak, everything you're able to see, the wow, this is like an energized, energetic, highly activated person. And then growth mindset, right? Growing everything. Tamasic is like kind of sort of like sattvic, but except the opposite. They're like lethargic. I don't want to do anything. Ignorant, dull, darkness. It's not that I don't need anything. I'll just make do with whatever. I can steal. Why do I have to work hard? Why do I have to go to work? I can beg. I can stand in the street on a piece of cardboard, say, help, give me a helpless, hold a glass, and then I get $100 every day. That's enough. And I'll just, my parents have left me. I don't have to get my degree. I don't have to work hard. And so begging, borrowing, stealing, and eventually, it's not that they're sattvic, it's not that they're content, it's not that they're satisfied. They do have the desires of the rajasic person, but they lack the passion of the rajasic person. So they want, but they don't want to work hard. The wants are there, but the will to work hard is not there. And the shanti of the sattvic is not there. And therefore they start resorting to violence, stealing, and they very quickly become, like, go on the dark side, as they say, accumulating through wrongful means, through bribery, through this, that, all that. And that's tamasic, because their setting is in lethargy. Setting is in like minimize. Okay. I don't want to spend anything of my own. I just want to move. I don't want to have to give anything. Rajasic would invest. Rajasic would do whatever is necessary to grow. Rajasic would sacrifice. Rajasic would work hard, all that. But tamasic would not be willing to do anything. I don't want to do anything, but I want it. And therefore the shortcut, those who take a shortcut in their material pursuit, quick money, easy street, those tend to be tamasic. And that's a mode of darkness. There's many more aspects to it as we go through this. We'll unfold some of those. And so here sattva meaning essence, and this shloka, when he said sattva anurupa sarvasya shraddha bhavati bharata, whatever is the essence of their sanskars, whatever they have accumulated, whatever they are prioritizing is where they will go, was the point of this shloka. Yajante sattvika devan yaksha rakshansi rajasaha pretan bhutaganan shanye yajanse tamasa janaha. सात्विक पुरुष देवों को पूजते हैं, राजस पुरुष यक्ष और राक्षसों को, तथा अन्य जो तामस मनुष्य हैं वे प्रेत और भूत गणों को पूजते हैं. So Sura, Dev, Sattvic, what tend to worship the Sura, the good, the Dev, which implies, Sur implies aligned. Those who are aligned with system integrity, those who want to live as part of the system, those who want to live for the well-being of all, they're called Sura or Devata, right? Those who have a broader view, those who are able to see that I am a part of the system. I am not an individual piece separate from others. I am not disconnected from all these. I am essentially one with, integrated with those who have the integral vision, right? That I am a chain, I'm a link in the chain. I'm not just a chain by myself. That if I pull myself, the whole chain gets pulled. If I push myself, if I don't move, I'm dragging the chain, the entire cosmic chain, Therefore, I must do my part because I'm part of the ecosystem. If I do it well, first class, then I'm contributing. If I don't, then I'm consuming, right? And the Sattvic Purush typically tend to live to contribute more than they consume. And the way to discern that is if I'm limiting myself, if I'm thinking I am this limited if I want to grow mine, then I'm consuming, I'm hoarding. If I broaden my view, if I consider myself part of the system, I am eating because I'm part of the system and the system should be nourished, then I'm contributing to it. Yagyaya acharata karma, right? Yagya ki bhana se. Sabke bhalai se, from the point of view of generating value. And so that's a broader vision, that's sattvic. Rajasic, because this whole chapter is, you'll keep hearing this theme, Rajasic is limiting, that I am this much, and I'm not happy with this much. I want more, because innately my Atma is prompting me. You cannot be limited. You are not limited. You never were limited. You are unlimited, but I'm not experiencing it. I'm seeing the boundaries around. I'm seeing a finite bank balance. And something inside me is telling me I'm not. I'm unlimited. I'm infinite. Therefore, I'm going to prove that I'm infinite. I'm bigger. I'm unlimited. I'll work hard. This is going about the wrong way. Yeah. Sattvic will go to the essence of it, how to the root of it. How is it that I am unlimited? So the Sattvic worship, the auspicious Devata, Sur, those who are aligned with the integrity, upholding the integrity of the system. Rajasic to Yaksha Rakshas, those, the Asuras, those who are misaligned, in other words. And Rakshas are not necessarily demons, at least the way in our scriptures it's described, the chapter before this, 16th chapter, Daiva Asur Sampatti Vibhag Yoga, the one that we're doing in Hindi yesterday. He simply defines them as Sur are those who are aligned, and Asur are those who are misaligned. So it's just a very, very different definition. That aligned with the system, who identified with the system, with the oneness of it, who are working to nourish the system, and in that are nourishing themselves also. What's good for everyone is good for me. If I'm cooking for everyone, I am not going to starve. And I will also get to eat. Prasad बांटते हैं गंडीसी में, तो वो तो खुद के लिए भी मिलता है, मिल जाता है, ले लेते हैं, है ना ऐसे. That's, those are sur, and asur are the ones who are misaligned, who don't have the vision or don't care for the system because they have this limited view. This is the system. This is it, and therefore I'm going to grow that. And so that's just the distinction between sur and asur, devta or rakshasa. Therefore, rakshas and yakshas grow. Kuber is a yaksha, right? Dhanka, the richest physical being in the known universe is Kuber is a yaksha. They grow, they hoard, they own gold mines. Kuber owns gold mines and all that. Lakshmi ke haath se the coins are showering because her brother is yaksha. And they're misaligned. They're personal wealth above communal or systemic integrity. And so he's saying that those who are rajasic worship those. Worshipping those meaning following those, that mindset, that philosophy. Sattvic follow this. And then the tamasic follow preta, bhuta, gana, just like the filthy, the unhygienic. It's like whatever, make do with the rotten, essentially. Uncaring. So Ashastra, I'll read the Hindi translation of the next shlok, the 5th and the 6th, and then we'll stop after that. What time is it? Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's just do these and then we'll do a little bit of dhyan. Okay, little bit of dhyan and then we'll go around. So 5 and 6 Hindi translation is जो मनुष्य शास्त्र विधि से रहित केवल मन से कपोल कल्पित घोर तप को करते हैं तथा दंभ और अहंकार से युक्त तथा कामना, आसक्ति और बल के अभिमान से युक्त है, जो शरीर में स्थित भूत समुदाय को और अंतःकरण में स्थित मुझ परमात्मा को भी कृष्ण करने वाले हैं, उन अज्ञानियों को तू असुर स्वभाव वाले जान. So here he's admonishing, he's saying that it does not make sense, it is not right to do whatever you want, I think this is right. I'm just going to do this. Maybe I should breathe this way, that way. Maybe I should try eating this. I just want to do 5 days fast in a row. And that's how I'm going to worship Krishna. Or I'll just ulta tanging. I'm just going to keep one hand, left hand straight up for 7 days. Or what are you doing? I'm just doing tapasya. Why? No, I'm reminding Krishna that I'm thinking of him. It's hurting. It's solidifying. काट के फेंक देना पड़ेगा बाद में. या जो भी हम पानी में खड़े रहेंगे 14 दिन. So random, arbitrary, making up some things is not suggesting, is not recommending that. Ashastram avidim ghoram. Ghor is extreme pursuit. Is not recommending that. Krishna in the Gita does not recommend any extreme pursuit, suggesting you do not have to. In fact, in this shloka, is you are actually torturing me. Spashta kara. Krishna, mom. Krishna is weakening. Mom, you me. Because ultimately the experiencer I am. You think you're experiencing it, but you're not. Right now, you haven't realized that it actually I am the only experiencer in all of them, in every one of you. I never wanted. This is not why I created the universe. This is not why I created you. I'm not trying to experience through you torture after torture after torture. And I want you to experience your oneness with me. It's not necessary. It also doesn't work. And it's not helpful either. And it's torturous path. Ashastra vidhi ghoram manyate ye tapojana. Those who tapana, hard work. Those who do such hard, arduous labor. It's damba. And then and part of that is damba ahankara sanyukta kama raga balanvita. Damba is drama. Essentially, damba is the realization that I don't have as much, but I don't want anyone to notice that I have less. And therefore, I'm going to make sure everyone feels like I have more. That I'm not as beautiful. I think I'm not beautiful. I'm not pretty. I want everyone to think I'm pretty. And so I'm just going to put on a lot of makeup and do my hairdo, wear lots of different kinds of clothes. Therefore, so that I appear prettier than I am. Because I think I'm the body. The body's never pretty, really. I mean, we're making it pretty. All bodies are ugly. Just period, sorry. Every body is ugly in its original form. But I think I'm the body and I should look pretty, and therefore I'm going to beautify myself. I only have this much money, but I'm just going to make a show of it. So the realization is there that I'm not that. But the desire is there, but I want to come across as that. I'll just lease a car for a year because I want to show off this or this, that, right? We'll just go on vacation and we'll put up pictures there, all of this. That's damba. And so now we're starting to get to the intentionality of it. He's asking, is it sattvic or rajasic, which one is superior or what? Saying it depends on the intentionality. If you're doing the tap, ghor tap kar raha hai. वो हम 8 दिन कुछ खाया नहीं, आज निर्जला करते हैं. I hear a lot of people saying, right? After that, if the intention is not to please the Lord, if the intention is not to go within, if the intention is not to quiet down, leave everything, and really immerse in divinity, if the intention is to just be able to say that I do nirjala, pani bhi nahi peete, khade bhi nahi, kuch nahi karte, then that's not a sattvic necessarily. It will not take to the sattvic. Dambos of ahankara. Next one he says, ahankara tha, maine kiya. Who can do this? What I'm able to do, it's not asan nahi hai. Madhuri and I were in one time listening to a live satsang of a sannyasi who was just claiming that sannyasi banna मुश्किल है, आसान नहीं है. सन्यासी जो बन के देखो उसी को पता चले. हम सब गृहस्थ बैठे थे, बच्चे बनाने वाले लोग बैठे थे सामने और वो कह रहे थे सन्यासी बनना आसान नहीं है, सन्यासी बन के देखो. भाई वो सन्यासी बिल्कुल धमाके से कहना चाहता था, भैया गृहस्थ बनना भी आसान नहीं है. सन्यासी बने बेटे, गृहस्थ बन के देखो, गृहस्थ चला के देखो. तो फिर भी चक्के छूट जाएंगे. आसान कुछ नहीं ऐसी. सो वो सन्यासी महात्मा उनके चरणों की धूल की मेरी किसी जन्म में बराबरी नहीं होगी, है ना. ये सच्चाई है. लेकिन अगर अहंकार आ जाए यार, तो सब धो दिया, सब बह गया. कि फिर क्यों अहंकार में आकार है, ना, अहंकार लिमिट हो गया ना, आकार आ गया ना, ये फाइनाइट हो गया ना, कि ये जो मैं कर रहा हूँ मैं आ गया ना, तो अनलिमिटेड था यार, इतना छोटा बना दिया, इतना सब करके अपने आप को छोटा सा बना दिया। तो इसमें तो दंभ से अथवा अहंकार से इग्नोरेंस आ गया, अज्ञान आ गया, एकदम डाउनवर्ड पावर, प्रेसिपिटस डाउनफॉल हो गया, विशाल अनलिमिटेड इनफाइनाइट था, तो अपने आप को अहंकार करके छोटा बना दिया, और फिर बड़ा बनने का प्रयास, दंभ अहंकार संयुक्तम यहाँ पे कहते हैं। और फिर क्या, काम राग मदान्विता, एंड देन कामना है, देन डिजायर है, राग है, चिपकना है, अटक है, जिद है, हट है, करके रहना है, और मद है, छाती ठोके कहते मेरा इतना किसका कैसा है। अपने दो चार को तो कह ही देते हैं, अपने कम से कम व्हाट्सएप के पर तो व्हाट्सएप स्टेटस अपडेट पे तो डाल ही देते हैं, नहीं तो फेसबुक के तो कर ही देते हैं, है ना, कुछ न कहीं ना कहीं तो आ ही जाता है, मद आ ही जाता है, क्योंकि ये माया के गुण है उसमें। तो कहते फिर look, the intention was adulterated, there was contamination, Krishna is saying, right? So it isn't in the path that you're following, it really is about what was the intention behind it. If there is contamination in it, then it's not. And therefore Shastra Vidhi jo hai, those are purificatory processes, the one that I talked in the beginning about, Shama, Dam, Titiksha, Uparati, eventually falling will lead to that, and then Samadhan, and then Shraddha, and वहां से फिर जो विवेक वैराग्य, but इसलिए we don't want to badmouth or criticize any shastra, any dharma, any religion, any, what do I know? I have not practiced it. I don't know what the effect of it is, right? Until I practice it, I cannot judge. Judgment free रहना चाहिए जीवन. Pure जीवन is always judgment free. So, and then the last one, he was saying, karshayanta sharirastam bhutagram chetasa mam jayavatyam. Karshing, like drying up my experiences, sucking the life out of me, as if he's saying. By doing उल्टा पुल्टा कुछ का कुछ करके हमने मन से ऐसा नहीं, शास्त्र विधि नहीं, कुछ नहीं, जो चाहिए कुछ भी खा के कुछ भी पी करके कुछ नहीं होता, भगवान को सब चलता है, भगवान को ऐसा ये सब कुछ भी खा लिया, मटन मांस मच्छी खा लिया, नॉनवेज कर लिया, और भगवान को सब भगवान का ये हरि दाता हरि भोक्ता हरि रन्नम प्रजापति, ये बकरा भी भगवान है, उसको काटने वाला भी भगवान है, तो फिर पकाने मैं भी भगवान हूँ, सब भगवान खा करके तकलीफ दे रहे, लेकिन थी क्योंकि तेरी चित्त की वृत्ति दूसरी ओर जा रही है करके, वो शरीर में भाव नहीं जो भगवान को सचमुच में चाहता है, बकरे को काट ही नहीं सकता, संभव ही नहीं है। The one, if you, because you're now situated in pure love, वो परम योगी की परिभाषा करी भगवान ने गीता में 6 अध्याय में, हाईएस्ट योगी कहा, आत्म उपमेन, you will stop at this, आत्म उपमेन सर्वत्र समम पश्यति यो अर्जुन, एम्पैथी की जो बात चल रही, सुखम वा यदि वा दुखम, the one who's able to identify with the grief of others, the sorrow of others, as if it is his or her own sorrow, even though they're not sad within. The one who becomes joyful and happy in the happiness and joy of others, even though there's nothing joyful for them, they're still living a simple life. They haven't won the lottery. They still have to go to work tomorrow. They still have to wake up and fight traffic tomorrow. But right now they're so happy because whoever is in front of them, they don't know who they are. They seem to be so happy and they're experiencing that. Or they're just experiencing empathy as if this is happening to me. So Sayogi Paramo Mata, he's the one, the fully identifying with all of them. So इसलिए यहाँ पे कहते हैं कि so then you will not be able to cut up animals thinking, well, ये तो भगवान ही इसमें क्या करे, because look in the eyes, look in the eye of the animal and then see what you see while you're cutting that blade. It's not possible. The fear and the grief and the anger and the uncertainty and the confusion in the eyes of that animal as the blade is falling. Look at that and see if you can eat it. I mean, I didn't mean to go there. That wasn't the point of it. But that's how it is. घोर कर्म कहते, कुछ का कुछ खाते जाते, कहते इससे कुछ नहीं होता, उससे कुछ नहीं होता, ऐसा नहीं है. Unless and until we've gone in that jnana sthiti, then it naturally we're going to be set in goodness alone. इसलिए where we're ending today, and then we'll pick up next time in the 7th. Actually 7th, let me just read it and then we'll start there. भोजन भी सबको अपनी अपनी प्रकृति के अनुसार 3 प्रकार का प्रिय होता है, और वैसे ही यज्ञ, तप, दान, ये सब के सब 3 प्रकार के होते हैं। उनके इस पृथक पृथक भेद को तो मुझसे सुन। In other words, he said, whatever we do, खाना पीना, दान देना, any act that we perform is generally categorized in these 3 broad categories of the spectrum. Let me elaborate on those, and we'll pick up that next step of what I'm giving, what I'm eating, how I'm sleeping, how I'm thinking, what I'm seeing. All of that is broadly either sattvic or rajasic or tamasic. It depends on my inner setting, the setting of my inner device. Anta karan. Anta is inner, karan is device. What's the setting of that? And there is a way to change that setting. There is a way to recalibrate that setting, right? From tamasic to rajasic to sattvic. And that process is essentially the spiritual practices. So let's stop here, and we'll do a little bit of that, and then we'll go around.